This is usually the time of the week when I say Fridays are awesome, and they still are, even if we're going to be off the air for a bit. I'm Carl Azus, this is CNN 10, and this is our last show of the 2020 spring season. It starts with the biggest story of the season, the coronavirus pandemic. It began in China late last year and spread around the world. The disease has been detected in more than 5.7 million people worldwide, and even though the vast majority of them have or will recover, COVID-19's been blamed for more than 350,000 deaths. In the United States, the country with the most confirmed cases, there have been more than 1.7 million positive diagnoses, and as of this week, health officials blamed COVID-19 for more than 100,000 deaths in the U.S. Efforts to prevent the disease from spreading have led to business closures, school closures, canceled vacations and graduations, the rise of the term social distancing, and previously unimagined efforts to keep people apart from one another. At first, they were told don't wear masks. Now some are told they must wear masks. There have been controversies and protests, millions of job losses and political tensions. Responses to coronavirus have changed the way governors govern, workers work, teachers teach, and learners learn. But they've also created opportunities. We've seen heroic stories of people helping each other, praying and caring for each other, honoring healthcare workers and grocery store workers. There's no vaccine, though scientists are working on one. There's no quick cure, though researchers are studying existing medications and antibody therapies. Different states and countries are cautiously reopening after weeks of being shut down. But because of all the uncertainty over the pandemic and the disease itself, it's hard for anyone to say what things will look like on the other side of the summer. Would the weather hold, was the question we asked 2 days ago when reporting on a scheduled space launch. It didn't. The SpaceX vehicle that was carrying 2 NASA astronauts stayed on the ground because of the threat of a thunderstorm. There are a couple challenges here. 1, lightning from a storm can strike a rocket and cause serious damage to it. 2, spacecraft heading toward the International Space Station have a limited window of time they can launch because they have to catch the ISS in its orbit. So the SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule will have to wait until this Saturday afternoon to try again. Sunday is the backup day. But meteorologists say there's a good chance the weather will interfere again. Afternoon pop-up thunderstorms are common on Florida's East Coast this time of year.
Liftoff, the final liftoff of Atlantis on the shoulders of the space shuttle. America will continue the dream.
It's been nearly 9 years since NASA astronauts traveled to space on an American rocket from American soil. Now, that's about to change. SpaceX and NASA are set to launch the Crew Dragon spacecraft, and for the first time, humans will be on board. The Demo 2 mission is a culmination of a decade-long partnership between the agency and Elon Musk's space company.
This is really the dawn in a new era of spaceflight.
The launch is expected to be the first time a private company has ever sent people into orbit.
We need to have affordable access to the International Space Station, and that's really what this launch represents.
The 2 veteran astronauts on board, Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, could stay on the ISS for up to 110 days.
In theory, this is the safest spacecraft NASA has ever had. It has to be proven. We haven't proven it yet. That's why we're doing this test flight.
The historic flight is happening in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. NASA and SpaceX are both taking serious precautions to keep the astronauts and their staff safe. Beyond quarantine that is standard before any launch, the astronauts have been tested for the virus multiple times. The agency and SpaceX are also urging the public to watch from home. That's despite the fact that SpaceX founder and CEO Elon Musk has called stay-at-home orders fascist.
This agency has a history of doing stunning things in very difficult times. And we're going to create this moment in time where everybody can look up, see something very bright and hopeful, and say, look, the future is great.
For NASA, the future involves putting astronauts back on the Moon, Mars, and even beyond. But for now, Bridenstine's focus is on the Crew Dragon launch.
Look, I'm very nervous. I would be lying to you if I told you I wasn't. I'll tell you, when I spent time with Bob and Doug today, they are both cool as cucumbers. They're ready to go.
10-second trivia. To what taxonomic family do locusts belong? Acrididae, Orthoptera, Insecta, or Formicidae? Acrididae includes locusts and grasshoppers. Since December, the nations of Kenya, Ethiopia, and Somalia have been suffering from swarms of desert locusts. An infestation of billions of insects has destroyed trees, crops, and pasture land, threatening livelihoods and food supplies for millions of people in the region. What's making things worse is the coronavirus pandemic. With borders closed and flights grounded, it's harder to get equipment to those countries to help them fight the locusts. And if the insects' numbers keep growing, East Africa could be in the midst of a locust plague by year's end.
It was about 10 o'clock in the morning. The day was bright, just like today. Then I just heard my neighbors, I heard them beating drums. I came out of the house, I saw yellow things on the house. And when I saw the sky, it was like a cloud, but things were moving. It was like a big blanket. I was really amazed because I've never seen them. They were just covering the whole sky, such that there was a kind of a cloud. We have heard through the literature, they have here, they say, that means in English, the year of the grasshoppers. They have spread all over. Surely we were surprised to see these young ones. The bigger ones had laid eggs without us knowing, and we didn't know. They were spraying today, and we were worried. We are really worried. But we have been assured by the government where it has been sprayed, you don't take your animals there for at least some days, 7 days. Here is a poor community, so it is really just hand to mouth. That's the situation, poor. Sure, it's getting more difficult. For these ones, it will even complicate our livelihood in the future. If they're gonna stay and multiply here, or they make here home, their home. Don't waste time beating drums. Can't you see these things are just too many?
For 10 out of 10, the heaviest bird on Earth is the ostrich. They can weigh more than 300 pounds. This one is heavier and faker. It's a gigantic 13-foot-high, 1,600-pound kookaburra. An Australian artist created it. It's built on a steel frame and covered in a lightweight material. He says when people ask why, he replies, why not? His avian creation is set to be the mascot of a cultural festival in Townsville, Australia. It's almost unkookaburreevable, y'all! And even if its creator had gone king fishing for compliments and got laughed out of a birdcage, he's still seeded a lot of smiles and will be sure to get lots of tweets. We will be off the air for a bit, but we'll be big with more episodes this summer, so please stay tuned for that. We saw more viewers this year than we have ever seen before, so thank you for being the best part of CNN 10, for sticking with us, even from home. Shout out to National Autonomous University of Mexico. It's in Mexico City. I'm Carl Azus. All my best, and God bless.